Humans are really fascinated by violence.
Yeah.
Which is kind of scary.
And it's like, you see that just glorified in the media, too.
Oh, yeah.
And how just in the news, like, just the over-representation of how much violence actually goes on. Oh, there's this bombing, there's this shooting, there's this war going on. And it's just like so
what
frequent.
else, you know? It's
exactly.
like, what else do you got?
Exactly. And like, I think people are just more, they're more accustomed to violence now. Not that it even happens to them.
It's desensitized, all of it. It's scary because, like, how do we have this much anger inside of us to, like, show that much aggression towards another human or a group of humans? That's insane. But, like, I don't know, guys, just chill, you know? Like, take out your anger somewhere else. Like, we don't need to be violent towards other people or towards each other, because that's also a problem these days. Self-harm is huge.
Well, don't you also think that we're almost the least violent the humanity has ever been at this time?
Yes, 100%.
Like,
we were just saying that you stole and you were hung in the center of town. If you were a witch, bang, done. If you were this, if you were that, like, there were so many beheadings. They used to behead you. What was that? Like, did we forget about that? Because I didn't. That's no.
you can't even comprehend that.
And like, listen, I have a lot of problems with society. I talk about it a lot on this show, and it's very frustrating, but we have come a very long way. You know, at town council meetings, we are no longer beheading you. We're like talking it through. And I think that should get recognition because we've come a long way.
Maybe a fine instead of a chopped off hand.
Right, a fine. Yeah, no, for real. Like, who thought that was a good idea? Like,
well,
let's
also
just kill
people
'em.
didn't have belongings, I feel like. So, like,
That's true.
whatever punishment that person was to face, it was like, okay, they won't steal because the only thing that they truly have is their hands. Like, that's their, that's how they work. That's how they play. That's
true.
how, so it's like, if we take one of those away, when they steal, they won't do it again, or it will deter them from doing it in the first place.
Or they can't grab as much.
Yeah, exactly.
They like literally can't hold as much as they could have.
Cat burglar breaking in a bank with no arms.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they make it work. Like, people get really creative. The disabled community is impressive.
Impressive.
Like, they make it work, and it impresses me. I saw
one guy with no arms or legs putting on makeup on TikTok.
I love him.
That was interesting.
And he does, like, it's so good. And he's funny. I don't know his name. I wish I knew his name so I could shout him out. But he has plenty of followers. He doesn't need a shout out. But I saw a girl on TikTok with one arm, like, deadlifting, but they make an attachment so that she can grab the bar with, like, her other hand. Mm-hmm. And, like, yes, it's very ignorant, but, like, I've never even thought about, like, that being an issue. You know, you can't grab the bar with two hands. You only have one hand. But then somebody coming up with an attachment that makes it just as possible for her to lift as much weight as the next person.
And losing limbs is a weird concept too. Like, I think about it all the time because when I'm surfing, and I'm like, how would it be to be living without a hand or without a foot or something? But it's weird now that they're making all these devices and apparatuses that can connect to your body. You can control fingers with the thoughts of your mind, like bionic fingers.
I mean, that's so cool.
It's incredible. I don't know if that's artificial intelligence or interfacing with your brain waves or a mix of both.
I was just going to say, I think it's a little bit of both.
Like,
because, like, your consciousness is, like, connected to something that's not a part of your body, which is an interesting concept because you obviously subconsciously and consciously control your body.
Mm-hmm. And it also brings us to the concept of, like, if you cut a hand off, if you cut a leg off, like, are you any less you?
I think that there is a level of, like, identity that comes into losing limbs. And I feel like people who have lost limbs can definitely speak on that. Like, a sense of, like, I took a lot for granted, maybe. Like, all of those things that, like, driving a car, tying your shoes, you know, like cutting an apple, you now have to figure out how to do with one hand.
Yeah, but do you necessarily associate those things with, like,
who you are.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Maybe
I feel like
for some people.
I feel like that's like maybe if you're identified with your body in a huge way.
Yeah.
Like if you're an NFL player, a basketball player,
right,
and they get their hand cut off and they can't do that anymore.
Right, then that's a huge identity crisis.
Yeah, but also at the end of the day, isn't that just a thing you do? All these things that you do with your body, like, they aren't you. Like, if I got my arm chopped off and I couldn't surf anymore, it's like, am I any less Corey just because I can't surf?
Yeah, that's true. But I think that's the question. Like, am I any less of myself because I lost a physical part of myself? Like, I think that's what is the question, and that's what, like, these people then go on however long of a journey trying to figure out. Like, am I okay without it? Like, can I do it without it? Mm-hmm. Can I find something else that I'm passionate about?
People just need hobbies.
You need more than one hobby, by the way.
Definitely.
You need so many hobbies. And, like, even the things that you're like, oh, like, I could never do that. Yeah, you could. And just do it.
Yeah, you just put your mind to something.
Yeah.
Like, people that are like, oh my God, you do so much. Like, yeah, like, I feel like I do a lot of stuff. I just try and keep my mind busy. I don't like being bored. Yeah, you do
a lot of stuff.
But also at the same time, people are like, you do so much. Like, I can't do any of it. I'm like, you could do all of it. Like, right. You just don't.
Exactly. Like, come on, people.
Yeah, they're like, how do you have time for this? I'm like, you have time for this, but you watch reality television and scroll through TikTok. It's like, come on.
Yeah, just get out of bed a little bit earlier, get after it and seize the day. And hobbies can be super mundane and chill. You could like to paint.
Painting is a great hobby.
Great hobby. And just to preface, you don't have to be good at it to do it. Mm-mm. You don't have to be good at it to do it. I'm no Picasso. My artwork is questionable to the artists out there. But do I enjoy doing it? Yeah. Is the paintbrush stroking against a page really therapeutic? Absolutely. Like,
art is all interpretive too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I think the thing about being skilled in art is being able to translate what you can feel and see in your mind and visualize onto some sort of medium, whether that be a painting, a drawing, a song, right?
Yeah.
Like, what you feel, how can you create that in words or pictures? Like, John Mayer says it best. He talks about how he's no better than everybody else. He just figured out a way to synthesize his feelings of love.
Yeah, exactly. And being able to capture exactly how he was feeling is really powerful and something that resonates with a lot of people through art, through all aspects of art, like physical art, music, writing, poetry, all of that is huge. I caught myself doing it the other night. Me and my roommates carved pumpkins, and doing arts and crafts as adults definitely brings up some inner child work, some might say, of like, being a kid in a classroom and carving pumpkins or painting something and like being put down, saying that you aren't good at art, but like feeling insecure about that. So we're carving pumpkins, and my one roommate was like, oh, like, mine's gonna look bad. Like, the whole time she just kept saying that, mine's gonna look bad, mine's gonna look bad. And I was like, maybe if like you just like change the way you're speaking, it'll look really good. And she didn't absolutely care about anything that I had to say. She was like, yeah, all right, and then like finished her pumpkin and went upstairs. And then I was like, oh, like finished mine, and I was like, oh, like, it looks good, whatever, like, it's funny. And I was like, I'm not that creative. And then my other friend was like, no, D, you're super creative. They were like, you do your own nails, you like to write, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? All the healing you do, sometimes you just say things and you don't even really mean them. Because I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm super creative. And I was like, word. It was just like a little bit of a reality check of like, you can be humbled sometimes too.
Mm-hmm. No, that's actually that's nice that you catch yourself in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, being able to finally be like, you know what? Like, yeah, I am. But to your friend, when you told her, like, you keep telling herself, by you telling her, like, no, your pumpkin's going to be good, it's almost like she has to defend her preconceived notion that she's not
be
creative.
Bad. Exactly.
So she told herself it's going to be bad. I'm not creative.
Yep.
And then you're like, no, I think it could be pretty good. She's like, how could you say that?
Yeah. And then she proceeded to like, you know how you're supposed to like carve like out and then like push the pieces in that you want in. She like reversed it.
Oh, okay.
So she carved like the whole image in, and it's just like it defeated the purpose, you know, because then it just looked like a hole like in the pumpkin. But it's fine. We love her pumpkin. It's still hung up with all the others. You know what I'm saying? Like it's fine.
It's interpretive.
And it was fun. And ripping the guts out were gooey, and it was
bare hands in there. And just
bare hands in there. You got to get in there.
Yeah, you have to.
You can't have to pumpkin carving.
Yeah.
You know,
gotta tear the guts out.
You gotta tear the guts out. We made pumpkin seeds.